And good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to the California Small Farm Conference. My name is Evan Wigg. I'm with Community Alliance with Family Farmers, and we are happy to have you back. Today's workshop is Farmers Market Nutrition Program Authorization Training and Future Updates. So I want to encourage everyone who is here in attendance to use the chat feature right down at the bottom of your screen there to interact, introduce yourselves, ask questions of today's panelists. And beyond that, we hope you enjoy your workshop here, and we hope to see you at the rest of the conference. I also want to remind everybody this is a meeting format on Zoom, which means you have access to your microphones and video. So I'd encourage you for the time being just to keep those off and stay muted while our presenters are presenting. And beyond that, enjoy, and why don't you take it away? Thanks for being here.
Nancy, you're muted.
Sorry about that. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nancy Magaña-Benoit. I am with the California Department of Public Health, and I oversee our farmers market programs there. We welcome you all here. I will go ahead and move us forward here. And with me is Monica Pedigo. She is with the California Department of Food and Ag, and she oversees the Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Program, as well as Katie Vonderleef, who is the E-Project Manager for Electronics Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Benefits. Couple of quick things. We will be doing quite a bit in the chat. We will be asking questions throughout, and we're going to go ahead and just have you put those answers in the chat as we direct you. So the first thing in the chat is we want to know who's attending our conference today. So if you wouldn't mind, if you would please put in the chat, we put some categories here. They may not work, but just so we have an idea of who is in the meeting today. So go ahead and put your responses in the chat for us. All right, farmer, excellent. Did we show you guys? Hi, Esther, how are you? All righty. So thank you for those who did say that you're attending this because you either want to get authorized or reauthorized to accept the farmers market nutrition programs. If you wouldn't mind putting, you could send us a private message to let us know so that we can follow up with you if you do want to reauthorize or authorize. That would be great. We can follow up with you later on. So thank you for that. Moving right along. Okay, so what are we going to cover today? We're going to cover the Wicked Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Program. We're going to talk about how you get authorized or reauthorized. We'll cover farmer and market manager responsibilities, transacting the benefits, how we ensure program success, and next steps to the authorization, reauthorization process. And then for the second half of this presentation, we're going to switch gears, and Katie Vonderleef from California Department of Food and Ag will start sharing what's going to kind of future directions and where these programs are going as far as transacting benefits in the future. So at this point, we're going to start with the farmers market overview, and I'm going to turn it over to Monica. Michael, go ahead, please.
Great, thank you, Nancy.
Practices and also our liquor practices as well. So it's one type of differentiation. Direct farming is sort of another level of differentiation for us, where there are certain buyers that see that we have.
Charles, can you put yourself
that's
on?
not easy to get from a lot of larger growers or larger organic growers. And so it's sort of a differentiation that we have in the marketplace that from our
If
perspective has made
you're
it
not
worthwhile.
presenting, can you please mute?
Thank you.
Yeah, and that just goes as a general reminder, please. We have everyone's audio available, but if you have a question, just raise your hand. And otherwise, if you could stay muted just so everyone can hear, that would be really helpful. Thanks.
All right, so the Farmers Market Nutrition Program overview. Our goals are mainly to provide fresh, locally grown fruits and vegetables and cut herbs to both the WIC and the Senior Farmers Market participants. Seniors do have the option to be able to purchase honey, and that is seniors only. And then also we want to expand the awareness and the use of local farmers markets to both of these participants, both with the WIC participants and for our seniors that are 60 years and older. It is a seasonal program. It runs from May 1st through the end of November. And that is the time that they can receive the booklets and the benefits, and then also use them at the farmers markets until the end of November. And the benefits do need to be redeemed by the WIC authorized farmers markets and the authorized farmers. Go to the next slide. And then this is what our what the checks look like that are going out. So we, on the left-hand side, have the WIC FMNP. Those checks are purple. They're $30 total in the booklet, and it consists of 3 $10 checks. This program is overseen by the California Department of Public Health and the WIC side of it, and it's issued by the WIC local agencies throughout California. On the right-hand side, we have the Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Program check. It is blue in color. Seniors receive $50 total, and it consists of 5 $10 checks. This program is overseen by the California Department of Food and Agriculture, and these benefits are issued out by the local area agencies on aging offices all throughout California as well. Real quick, the WIC participants, that is for any participants that are age 6 months or older. And then for seniors, we do work with low-income seniors who are 60 years and older. Next slide. This is a little bit what's allowed, not allowed. It's not an extensive list. I believe we have one online that's a little bit further. But pretty much anything that is allowed is fruits, vegetables, cut herbs, and then honey only for seniors. The reason that honey is only available to our senior participants is because with WIC, it is due to the risk of botulism during pregnancy, breastfeeding, and infancy. So we do only allow honey for our senior participants. You can look at the not allowed list, but pretty much anything that's processed or not in its fresh form with the fruits and vegetables and herbs. There's no dairy, meats, eggs or nuts, no baked items. And then this also, even though we have cut herbs and vegetables, it does have to be off the vine. It can't be planted. So that's an important thing to know. It can't be planted herbs or a planted tomato plant. It does have to be readily available and off the vine. So we're going to do our first review, and you can go ahead and answer these in the comment section. For the first one, a WIC or senior shopper can purchase potted herbs. True or false? Good job. I've seen a lot of false. Okay, yeah, and that's just a reminder. We want to make sure that everything is off of a plant and just kind of a one-time consumption. And then for number 2, the first day to accept the FMNP checks, is it A, April 1st, B, May 1st, C, September 1st, or D, anytime? Great. Looks like you guys are getting all of our important dates. That's huge. Thank you so much. Next, we're going to move on to the authorization process, and I'm going to pass this back on to Nancy.
I gotta remember to unmute here. All right, moving forward. Come on, computer. My computer's deciding to take a nap. Sorry. See if it'll work. Oh, no. I need one of you guys to come in if it doesn't go for me. Let's see if I'll let me do it this way. My PowerPoint is not responding, so if one of you, Katie, if you want to go ahead and bring it up, that would be good.
Yes, just give me 1 second and
No problem.
share my screen. Nancy, I don't know if you've seen in the chat, but also it sounds like folks are having a hard time hearing you. If it's possible to move maybe a little bit closer to the microphone, it does sound a little bit echoey, but I can still hear you, just not super.
Okay, is this better?
Yeah, I think so. If someone in the audience could confirm that, that sounds a little bit better, that would be helpful. Oh, okay. Also,
Great.
your PowerPoint's working now. Everything's working.
All right, thank you. So is this our first slide? What is the slide before this? My PowerPoint's working? Nice, okay. All right. It was working. Katie, I think we should just go ahead and have you open it, see if you have a better chance than I do here. Because it's not cooperating well. No, is that me or you? That's me. Okay. So who are eligible to apply and who are not eligible to apply? If you sell any of the authorized foods that Monica talked about before, fresh fruits and vegetables, fresh cut herbs, and then in the case of seniors, honey, that's one thing. If you have a certification from your county office of ag, either as a farmer, then that counts. And you are selling at a WIC authorized farmers markets. Not all certified farmers markets are WIC authorized, and so you need to make sure that the market is authorized and that their authorization is current. Who is not eligible? Wholesale farmers, any disqualified or suspended farmers, and grocery stores or retail sellers. If you remember, Monica said when we talked about what the goals of the program were, one of the big things is that we want to encourage and expand the use of purchases at farmers markets. So we purposely do not qualify grocery stores or retail sellers for this program. So the authorization, it looks pretty daunting here, but it's actually really simple. We do ask that you have current certification with your county ag commissioner, and that's both for the markets and the farmers, and that you keep that certification up to date throughout your authorization period. If we do request to look at your certification, we do require that you show that upon request. You need to fill out an application, very short 2-page application. It has to be signed by the farmer, whoever's legally responsible for the entity. So whoever has signed, the certified producer on the part of the farmer must sign, or in the case of the manager, whoever is listed as the legal entity for the manager. We do ask that you submit a copy of your certified producer certificate or your certified farmers market with your application. We cannot process applications without this information, and any of the other required parts of the application, if those are incomplete, we also cannot process your application. So please take some time to review the application, make sure you filled in all the boxes, and that you submitted all the information. We do take pretty much all of our applications by email. You can send it by mail, but they sit in a box at our office because we're not in the office every day. And so we really pretty much try to do everything by email now. You do need to take some kind of a training. If you're brand new, you need to take an interactive training like this one. And if you're renewing, then you can self-certify or reauthorize. You can self-certify. Once you've done all that and we look over your application, we enter it into our system, you will receive a notice of authorization that comes by email. And you should not be accepting any checks before you receive your notice of authorization. The authorization period is for up to 3 years. So for anybody who's authorizing or reauthorizing, say today, you will expire in December 31st of 2026. So it's a little bit short of 3 years. You will receive a list of the farmers or markets that you participate in or with as part of your notice of authorization. It's really important you keep that list up to date. And then if you need any kind of signs, because you are required to post an authorization sign, those will be sent by snail mail, United States Postal Service. We can't send those by email. And speaking of signs, we have 3 different signs available. We have Wiccan Senior Farmers Market Checks Welcome. That's the most common sign that is used. Then we have one for Senior Farmers Market Checks Welcome. That is for our honey-only farmers. They cannot, since they cannot accept WIC, that we give them this sign here, and it says WIC checks not accepted here. And then we have a third sign, and this is for farmers that are authorized to accept our monthly WIC benefits. They do have a wireless terminal to accept those with, and so they have that sign as well. One of the new features we added to our website this year is if you go to our website, which is listed right here down below, we actually have a place where you can order the signs. There's an order form on the signs. And the one thing I will, or order form on the website to order the signs, the one thing I will tell you is you need to don't fill it out online. Follow the instructions, download it download the document and then complete it through Adobe Reader. That way, when you click the submit button at the bottom of the page, it automatically opens an email to us, has your completed form attached, and all you have to do is click send. We try to make this as easy as possible. You do need to have these signs posted. It is a federal requirement, and it's the #1 violation that we see when we're out in the markets and doing monitoring and review. So please order signs. Please keep them posted every market day. So go through some responsibilities. First one I already talked about a little bit. You must have a valid certified producer certificate throughout the full authorization period. I know those expire every year, so we would expect you, even though ours is up to 3 years, so we would expect you to renew that authorization, because that is one of our authorization criteria in order for you to be eligible. It's really important that you post those WIC signs in a very visible location in each market during the season. Can't be in your truck, can't be at the bottom of the box. We really need it in a visible location. So if it's laying flat next to your cash register, that's not really visible, because the idea is, oops, let me go back. The idea is that as our shoppers walk by, they can easily see that sign and they know that you do accept these checks. Some of them are shy, some of them are embarrassed, and they may not ask you. And that is a federal requirement, and it is something that's required to happen when you are selling at the market and you're authorized. You can only transact the checks for allowable foods. You can't exchange them for cash or alcohol or anything else, only for the foods. You can only accept these checks at WIC authorized farmers markets. So if you do have a farm stand, that's even though you're authorized, that's not an authorized location. So you want to make sure that the markets where you are accepting them have current authorization status with us as well. You can find that on our website if you need more information about that. You need to follow established check handling and processing procedures, and we're going to go through those here in a little bit. And if there's any kind of fraud or abuse, or you suspect fraud or abuse, you are expected to report that. As for our market managers, we do need you to have a valid certified farmers market certificate throughout your authorization period, just like the farmers. We do ask that when you're going around and doing your rounds at the market, that you make sure the farmers have those signs posted. Sometimes farmers ask you to complete section 2 of their application, and if you could do that, that would be wonderful. We see you as our eyes and ears on the ground, and really being there to help our farmers, provide them with any assistance and answer questions, because you're right there, and they're more likely to ask you than they are to call us. So we really appreciate all you do to help our farmers understand the program. If you are accepting checks for deposit, you need to make sure that you're following the deposit procedures, and we will go into that in a little bit. And equally, if you suspect or know of any program fraud or abuse, we do need you to report that to us. All right, so we're back to review time, and so we'll do this in the chat. So first question, a farmer can accept WIC and Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Program checks before receiving the notice of authorization from the WIC program. Is that true or false? All right, you guys are good. I love it. Either we're doing a super duper job or you guys are super smart, or both. Let's hope it's both. All right, question number 2. Farmers let WIC and Senior Farmer Market Nutrition Program shoppers know that they can accept the checks by by posting their certified producer certificate, B, notice of authorization, C, WIC ID number, or D, WIC and Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Program authorization sign. D's, I'm seeing D's. Okay, cool. Good job. All right, last one on this section. Farmers must train their staff on FMNP policies and procedures. True or false? All right, okay. And I believe the next slide, we go back to Monica.
Great. So now in this section, we'll be going over the transacting and the depositing of both the WIC and the senior checks. So this is kind of the anatomy of what this is specifically the WIC check, but either the WIC and the seniors, they look very similar. Really, the only thing different is at the top. It'll say WIC or it'll say seniors. But for the most part, it all kind of goes in the same order. You will notice at the top left-hand side, we do provide the first and the last day to use. That is a reminder to both the participant and the farmer, just to make sure that you are not taking the checks after November, and also a reminder not to accept them before May. We do put in there pay to the order of the WIC authorized farmer. You don't have to do anything with that, but we've noticed over the years that has been helpful. Sometime when you do turn it into the bank, that they are processed a little bit easier. Sometimes some banks that are maybe smaller, not aware of this program, they do have some questions. And then at the bottom, this is also, again, a reminder mainly for participants, but always good for any of your employees or the farmers. We list the allowable foods. The reminder that the checks are only good at the farmers markets, not at grocery stores. And unfortunately, with the checks, if they're lost or stolen, we cannot replace them. And then at the very bottom, we do note that it is legal tender and that these checks are payable through the California State Treasurer's Office. Once they're taken to the farmer's bank, they will be cashed, and it is just as much as legal tender that you'll get paid for it. I believe on both for WIC and for seniors, we do have a website where you can go and you can look and see the authorized farmers markets for the participants to use that. So that will direct them to you if you are in their area. And then on the right-hand side, we have the individual check denomination. Both WIC and seniors are $10 per check. Again, no changes given. That's a reminder more for the farmer. And then there's a box on the bottom right-hand side, and that is for the farmer to put their 6-digit farmer ID number on that box before they deposit to the bank. And we will go over this date a lot, but it definitely needs to be deposited no later than December 15th. It's really important that these get in by then, not just for you to get paid, but also for us to report back to USDA. Right. So as far as accepting the FMNP checks, just a reminder to treat the checks like cash. They can't be replaced if they're lost and stolen. That's, again, for the participants just as much as the farmers. And then to keep the checks in a secured lockbox. I know when we go out and we do monitoring, for the most part, they're really good about putting the checks underneath the cash tray. And that seems to be a safe place to put them because you're not having to make change for any other purchases. It's kind of just underneath there, and then that way you can keep them safe. And then also very occasionally, but in the rare cases that you feel that you need to cancel a check, either by marking it void, punching a hole in it, we do recommend that you call us just so we can confirm that is the case before you go forward with that. But if it needs to be, once it's tampered or voided, it cannot be accepted for payment. And again, we will not be able to replace it. And then really what's most important is just making sure that you're treating both the WIC and the senior shoppers the same as any other customer that comes into your booth. We want to make sure that they have the same quality of produce, the same variety and selection of produce available to them, the same prices offered, and then just overall making sure that they have a pleasant shopping experience is really important. I think up a couple. I think a couple more, Nancy. We got to go up like 2 more. There we go. Yep, that's it. So accepting the senior and the WIC FMNP checks, again, we want to ensure that the shoppers are spending their entire check amount. So it is $10. They do have to use that complete $10 at the time of purchase. There is no change given. So that means if they only purchase $8 worth of goods, that we do, we allow you to encourage them to put more and to select more produce there to get up to that $10. If they go over the $10, they're allowed to use other forms of payment to purchase the goods that exceed that check value. They can use more than one check. That's not a problem. It is one check, one farmer. So again, you can't split that check of $10 between $5 in one stall and $5 to the next. The checks cannot be exchanged for token or script. And then you may not collect tax or levy a surcharge on any of the purchases. And again, you can accept additional payment, whether that's EBT or cash or any other benefits that are going on at your market to cover the price that exceeds their purchase and stuff like that. But the main one is to really not give the change for the check. So again, we know $10 can be a lot for some people to use at one time, and others they probably more for the WIC because they are purchasing for a family, not as difficult. But again, just if they are only getting $7 or $6 worth of stuff, helping them choose more produce to help increase that to the $10 amount. And then depositing checks. We recommend doing it regularly, whether that's weekly, twice a week, whatever works for you as a farmer. But really what's important is once you get those checks at the end of the day at your market, you want to either write or stamp the 6-digit farmer ID number on the front of the check in the white box on the bottom right-hand side. That number will be given to you from the WIC office in your letter of authorization once you receive that. Checks with missing or invalid farmer ID numbers, they may not be paid. So it's really important that you put that on there. We get daily reports from the state treasurer's office, and we do have to look at them. And if we notice anything incomplete, we do notify them of that. You will need to endorse the back of the check, just like any other regular check you would receive. And then again, to make sure you deposit the checks no later than December 15th. If you don't remember your WIC ID number, you can ask your market manager. They should have that on file, or you can email or call the WIC office. And you can get the contact information at the end of the presentation. You guys can keep that on hand. And then you just need to make sure that the farmer ID number is written on the check prior to submitting them to a market manager for deposit or payment. And then now it's time to review. So we'll go through each one. This one's a fill in the blank. So farmers need to add the blank to the check prior to depositing the check in the bank. That's correct. So your 6-digit farmer ID number is what we want on that check. So make sure we can track it back to you. We know that we're also meeting our USDA regulations. And so we just need to make sure we know who's getting the checks.
And
Next
Monica,
question. Yes.
can I interject here real quick? Also, if you're a market manager and you're accepting checks from your farmers, you should make it a rule for them to add the check, their ID number onto the checks before they turn them into you. Yeah, it's really up to you. It just depends how much you want to go searching for their ID numbers to put them on themselves. But most of our market managers that accept the checks ask the farmers to have their numbers on there prior to turning them into the market.
Right. So for number 2, true or false? Farmers Market Nutrition Program shoppers must spend the entire check amount with one farmer, as change cannot be given. That's the truth. That is correct. Number 3, lost or stolen checks can be replaced. True or false? Perfect. Just on a side note, if by any chance booklets are found or checks are found, you can return them to our offices. We do have our address on both of them. There's only been once that I've ever received a booklet and been able to give it back to the senior, but that is, if it is found, we do try to get it back to who it belongs to. But if it's just generally lost or stolen, we cannot replace it for the participant. Number 4, the Farmers Market Nutrition Program shoppers must receive the same quality and price for allowable FMNP foods as those sold to other customers. True or false? Yes, that's perfect. So it is true. We want to make sure that everybody is having the same quality and equitable shopping experience as everybody else that comes in. We've been very fortunate that everybody that comes in, I feel like farmers show a lot of grace, a lot of kindness to our participants and helping them be able to access fresh produce, which is huge. And then number 5, the Farmers Market Nutrition Program checks may be exchanged for tokens or script. So yeah, so that's false. And then last one, number 6, the last day to deposit the WIC FMNP checks is either A, September 30th, B, November 30th, C, December 15th, or D, December 31st. Perfect. That's great. We want to make sure you guys know that date, December 15th. All right, and now I'll pass it back on to Nancy.
All right, we're almost done here with the training part. So the next section is ensuring program success. So attached to your application, depending on which, we have 2 or 3 different types of applications, but attached to that is a contract, which you keep. You don't need to turn that back into us, but it does outline all the rules that are required. It does let you know what we expect from you as an authorized farmer or market with us, as well as what you can expect from us. We also ensure compliance not only by the contract, but by being available for training and answering any questions. We do go out and monitor, spend a lot of time during our monitoring visits providing training as needed. And one of the things, at least, and Monica may have a different experience than I do, but when I'm out there monitoring, it's really important because a lot of times, the farmer is the one who has to take this training, and then the employees are out at the market. And when I go out and I say, well, how do you do, I'm from WIC and I'm doing this monitoring, and they don't necessarily know what the program rules are. And so it's really important that you train your staff to know how to accept these, because that is considered a finding. And I noticed that Hester has her hand up. So Hester, if you want to unmute and ask your question, feel free to do that.
Hi, I just had a question about when farmers sign the checks over to us, they put their farmer ID in the front, and then they have to write in the back, payable, pay to the order of, they have to endorse it to us. Is that just checking to make sure that?
I don't know if we've ever required that. Mainly we have them put their farmer ID number in the front, and most of the markets have some kind of an accounting system at the end of the day. I don't know if it's on the load sheet or where, so that, they can account for the checks from which farmers. And then I would think, I think you can either have them endorse it over to you on the back if you want, or if you just do your own endorsement for your own bank account. It probably also depends on the bank. Some of the banks are kind of picky about how you do that. So they may prefer that you do that endorsement payable to XYZ Farmers Market. But I would say connect with your local banking institutions so that you follow what they need and you don't run into any issues. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Okay, no problem. All right, let's see, where am I? So during the monitoring visit, we're going to look for those signs. As I already told you, it's the #1 violation. And as you can see, this farmer has it posted right on the edge of the tent, right in front. You can't miss it. And that's a really great place to put them. We also will be looking to see that you have your ag certificates posted. That's not a requirement for WIC per se, but it is a requirement for the county ag office. And we will check your ag certificate while we're out there to make sure that it's current, and look over, if there's any contact information we need to update, or any other things that are on the certificate to make sure that you are indeed selling the produce that you sell, and all the rules that go along with that. It's really important that your farm employees understand program policies. I just talked about that. I can't tell you how often the employees have no clue, and I end up doing a training on site right in the middle of a busy market. And so that's just really, really important that, they understand. And Monica went over that slide where it has all the stuff written on the front of the check. And I actually use that when I go out and train them at the market. I don't have a bunch of handouts and stuff. I usually just show them on the check, because it has pretty much everything they need to know on the front of that check. And that's why we take time to go over that in the presentation. So it's a real quick and easy, down and dirty way to cover most everything that they need to know as far as doing a transaction. And then we also are making sure that everybody's being treated fairly and that all other rules are being followed as well. We do have a complaint form. It is located on our website. I put CDPH WIC, but this came from another slide, but you really, Monica gets complaints too, and she investigates them as well as I do on the WIC side. Complete it as best you can. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions about it. So that's the complaint form. That's just for general complaints. The market closed early and they were gone by the time I got there, right? The other kind of complaint that we have is what's called a civil rights complaint. And because this is a federal government program run by the United States Department of Agriculture, we as participants, farmers and market managers, we are participating in this program. We are required to follow all the federal civil rights rules. And basically we cannot discriminate, and there's some protected classes that we can't discriminate against, and those are in this first paragraph, and they include race, color, national origin, religious creed, disability, age, political beliefs, or reprisal or retaliation for prior civil rights activity in any program or any activity conducted or funded by USDA. So to kind of separate out between a complaint might be, oh, that farmer's lettuce is always wilty. That's a complaint. But if you say, I think that's farmers selling me that wilty lettuce because I'm Catholic. Well, religious creed is protected, right? Or any of these other groups. So we need to be very careful just to make sure we treat everybody the same and we're not discriminating on obvious differences. And we may not even be doing it, but you can never be sure how people are receiving things. Not me personally, but I've been involved. Whoops, gosh darn it. I've been involved with several civil rights activities for various things, mainly at the program level. And it's just a matter of, following through. We do have to report these to USDA. So it's just a regular complaint, just do the regular complaint form. But if it is for one of these protected classes, just make sure that we're going through the right method and reporting that to USDA. The middle paragraph talks about alternate ways of communication. So if you require Braille or large print or American Sign Language, it gives you TTY, it gives you information on how to access for those alternate communication methods. And then the bottom paragraph just gives you all the different ways that you can submit this form. And it also tells you where you can find the discrimination complaint form. All right, so next steps. So if you haven't already done so, and again, I'm going to just repeat what I said earlier at the beginning of the presentation, that if you are planning on authorizing, reauthorizing, just let us know in the chat, and I will personally follow up with you to make sure that I get, so you don't get lost in the system since you did take this training. We will process your application. This training does count as the required training if you're a new farmer's market manager or a new farmer. Once we do all that and we've authorized you, you will receive a notice of authorization in the mail by email. If you need signs, we will send you signs by the USPS, United States Postal Service. And again, you can also order those signs online now at our website. It's really important that you keep us updated. This is really, really important for the markets, especially because I've had markets change dates, locations, hours. And it's not that we even really, it's not important to us if you need to change for whatever reason you need to change, but it is important that we know the change because we actually post this on our websites. And we get calls all the time. I went to the market and they weren't there, or, they closed early, because everybody's already packed up. So also, if you're no longer in business, what happens is we'll have people that still are authorized, but they go out of business and they don't let us know. And so you end up staying on our list, and then people go there. And we haven't updated our list. So it's really, really important. Or if the manager changes,
¿Qué es lo peor que puede pasar, hermana? Que se lo quite y que me diga que se lo vuelva a poner. Ahorita se lo quito y te lo mando.
necesita ponerlo en mudo, por favor.
Y no estoy segura, porque le había mandado.
Señora, si me hace favor de ponerlo en mudo, gracias. Gracias. And then every year, this counts as the training for your authorization or reauthorization. And then every year, you get an annual newsletter, and that will be coming out in probably April or May, depends when I have time to. It will be posted on the website for sure, and we will send that out by email in April or May, and that takes care of your annual training requirement. Here's our contact information. You don't have to write any of this down because I uploaded this slideshow to this session. So if you go in and you look for attached documents, it's there. We'll be happy to email it out to anybody who reaches out to us as well. But that's all the different ways. Here's the main phone number for our farmers market team. Our website, email, there's my name, my specific phone number and email, and you're always welcome to reach out to me. Ryan and Tony will answer the numbers up above. They do all the processing of the apps, but feel free to always reach out to me. On the senior side, we have Monica, and there's the main phone number, the website for the Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Program, and their email. Their branch chief is Christy. Monica's the coordinator for the summer Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Program. And as we stated earlier, Katie is the one who's overseeing the move to electronic benefits. But again, this is it is attached to this presentation, and we'll be happy to send it out to anybody who wants a copy. That is the end of our training portion. I am going now to turn it over to Katie Vonderleef from California Department of Food and Agriculture. We're excited to have her discuss where is the Farmers Market Nutrition Program going, and just exciting things that are happening. So Katie, if you're ready, I'll go ahead and pass this to you.
Yeah, Nancy, I wanted to ask, do you want to do Q&A for the authorization part now, or should we wait until the end?
You know, it might not be a bad idea. I kind of wondered about that. Does anybody have any questions about the training portion to be authorized and or reauthorized? I said, Hester, I saw you had one earlier, and I can look up your expiration date offline and get that back to you. But should we update you about one-off early closures due to inclement weather? Or are they? Yes, you really should. I went out monitoring this past summer, and I got there and there was no market there. And as it turned out, they had to shut down because of the heat. It's in a parking lot, and the blacktop was really hot. And I was really surprised because it's a market manager I know very well, and she's always really good about checking in with me. So I called her and I said, hey, I went to go visit your market. You weren't there. So yes, one-offs are nice as well. It doesn't necessarily, you know, we may not be able to communicate that out to our participants. So, but it is kind of nice for me to know, or Monica to know, if we're out monitoring. I would have, because it was actually way out of my way. I had to do that hour one-way drive from where I was staying. So yes, but definitely if you're closing or, you know, if you're moving locations. I had another situation where I went to a market and they weren't there at the location, but they had really good signage. It turned out there was some construction going on. I can't remember if it's the freeway or the building or something. So they couldn't be where they were, but they had really good signs that pointed, you know, those sandwich signs, and I was able to follow them in my car. So yeah, all good. Our farmers market is now being operated by a different nonprofit. Who would be the best person to contact regarding that change? Why don't you contact me? Usually when I do these kinds of trainings or outreach or whatever, I go ahead and kind of, you know, handle it so that it's all handled, you know, that I have confidence that it gets handled and it doesn't get dropped, fall between the cracks. Any other questions? Those are really great questions. And we're going to have another Q&A session at the end. So if something comes up, you know, feel free to, you know, we can answer it at that point as well. So seeing no further questions, Katie, I think you're on.
Yeah. Hey, everyone. So I'm excited to kick off the second part of our presentation, which is giving you all some updates about where the program is headed. So an exciting announcement is that the Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Program is set to transition to electronic benefits in 2025. So I know we just spent a little while talking about the checks, but I want to let you all know that starting in the 2025 season, not 2024, but next year, there will be no more checks and the entire senior program will transition to electronic benefits. So if you could go to the next slide, Nancy. Great. So to introduce the electronic transaction system, I'll start off by giving a really broad, like 30,000 foot overview about how the system will work for farmers. Yeah, thank you. To start, the farmers will complete the authorization training. So this training is just like the authorization training that you just completed, and is usually run by WIC, but also sometimes CDFA will help out as well. There is a new step that is required in this electronic system in which the farmer needs to create an account with a third-party payment processor. And this is to facilitate the electronic transfer of benefits to the farmer's bank account. The participant will be issued benefits on a card with a QR code. We're calling it the Senior Farmers Market Card. And then the participant will bring their card to the farmer's market. They'll select their produce like they always have. They'll take it to the farmer or the employee, and then the farmer will scan the QR code on the card with their smart device. So the farmer or whoever is conducting the transaction will need to have a smart device with a camera that has access to the internet. And money will be automatically transferred to the farmer's bank account on a weekly basis. So this is, that was a very broad overview of how the system will work. One advantage that we have here in California is that Washington State has already done this. They implemented the system that we're implementing. It's almost exactly the same. We'll probably make a few tweaks here and there, but it's essentially the same system using the same contractor that we will be using. So we've been able to glean a lot of lessons from them. We've also been looking at their training materials and attending some of their outreach events to see what challenges they're confronting and also what questions the farmers and the farm employees have. So I wanted to share this video with you all that was made by the Washington State Department of Health. They made a training video for their farmers and the farm employees about this new program. So this video will just give you a visual idea of what the program looks like. I know for me, sometimes it's hard to talk about like something that feels abstract, like an electronic transaction system. So hopefully this will make it a little bit more tangible. So we'll show this video now, fingers crossed that it works. Go ahead. One more second. We can't hear the audio. Nancy, maybe try unmuting. That's okay. I think
there's a setting that I was supposed to hit. But let me try playing it and see if you guys can hear it on my computer.
Okay. Yeah, no, we can't hear it. That's okay. It'll be in the I just muted myself. It'll be in the slideshow that Nancy shared, and also maybe Monica or Nancy can drop a link in the chat to share. But it is a really nice video. It just shows you what the software looks like, so you can actually see like on a phone how a farmer would log in and complete a transaction. So we're lucky that we have Washington to share these resources with us, and they've been very kind in sharing their information.
They wrote in the chat, there's usually an advanced setting to share audio. Yeah.
Okay. I think we're already a little bit behind on time, so we can just
Just keep going.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so now that we have more of an idea of what this electronic system will look like, I want to go through some of the anticipated advantages of this new system. The first is weekly automatic deposits. So in the last presentation, Monica was talking about, go to the bank every week or maybe twice a week if you can. With this new system, money will automatically be deposited on a weekly basis. So we haven't selected the day and time, but we will. So there'll be one day we'll say like Wednesdays at 9 p.m. You will receive all of the money from the previous 7 days of transactions, and it will be automatically deposited into your bank account. This leads to advantage number 2, which is that you won't have to go to the bank anymore, which I don't know if you're like me, but I hate going to the bank. So this is a big advantage, at least in my mind. The third anticipated advantage is that purchases can be made in any dollar increment. Yeah, that's right, Nancy. No bank fees. We've also heard that there's some banks that are hesitant to deposit, so we get to skip that entire process, which will be nice. Yes, purchases can be made in any dollar increment. So especially for seniors, because I'm on that side, I hear a lot that that's a big complaint that seniors don't want to purchase $10 of a specific commodity from a certain farmer. So as long as there is enough money in their account, the farmer or seniors can purchase in any dollar amount that they would like. They're not limited to purchasing in $10 increments. The fourth anticipated advantage is fewer scripts to handle at the market. I'll go into this in a little more detail in the next slide, but one advantage one thing that we're going to do for 2025 is maybe you've heard of the California Nutrition Incentive Program. It's often called Market Match. This program works with other nutrition programs and gives additional money to people who receive benefits. So for seniors, some seniors in the state will get an extra $15 if they get the senior benefits. So they have $65 to spend at farmers markets instead of just $50. So what we're going to do with this new electronic system is instead of having 2 different scripts, one for the seniors and one for the market match, we're going to put it all on one card. And so we're thinking that that will just make things a little bit less confusing, that'll be one less type of script to handle at the market, one less thing to manage. And then finally, an advantage of this new system is increased access to timely data. So you will, if you're the farmer, you will be able to see all of the transactions by market location, by date, and you'll be able to see how much money is spent at each market for these different benefit categories. So for the next slide, I wanted to talk a little bit more about this streamlining effort that we are doing as we transition to the electronic benefits. So this chart shows 5 benefit types we hope will be available to farmers to transact after completing the authorization and onboarding process. So with the paper checks, the authorization training that you just took, you complete 1 authorization training and you would be able to transact WIC and senior FMNP. But with the senior FMNP electronic system, you do have this additional step of creating a profile with the payment processor. But by going electronic, this provides us an opportunity to include more benefit programs on each card. So by bundling multiple benefit types, this not only expands the pot of money that's available to farmers, but I think it will also make life a little bit easier for the seniors who maybe don't have to wait in line for another market match benefit and things like that. So we've talked about the system generally. We've talked about what are some of the advantages. Now I want to talk about the requirements needed to transact using this new system. So the farmer will need to create an account with a payment processor. I've mentioned this a couple times. So in order to create an account, they will need to have a bank account. It can be a savings account or a checking account. And they will also need to complete and submit a W-9 form with their tax ID number. This is not something that has been needed in the past, but is needed to, facilitate the electronic payments. And the farmer will also need an email address. The person conducting the transaction, if it is an employee and not the farmer, they will need to create a profile with the payment processor as well. Excuse me. Sorry. They will need an email address, and then they will also need a smart device with a camera and internet access. So I just want to nip two things in the bud really quickly, or address two issues that we've been hearing about from other farmers in other states. Is the first is that there was concern that the employee of the farmer would have access to the farmer's bank account information, maybe their tax ID and stuff like that. I just want to make totally clear that the employee will have no access to any of that private information. The employee will just be connected to the farmer's account in order to transact on their behalf, but will not be able to view any of their information, not be able to change any of their information. There will be totally separate profiles that will just be connected to transact. And then the other issue that we are aware of, and I just want to address, is that there will need to be internet service, whether that's through your cellular service. You will need some kind of connection to the internet in order to transact these benefits. Sorry, and I know that that's going to be a challenge for some of our rural markets. I wish I had an easy sort of solution to this, but it is something that we don't have an easy response. It's something that we're thinking about, and we were happy to hear any suggestions that folks have, but we know that this is going to be a challenge. And our hope is that by telling people in advance, in a year and a half of notice, that they'll be able to make arrangements. Maybe that's getting a new cell phone carrier, or maybe getting a wireless hotspot that might help. We did hear from Washington that they had less of an issue with internet service than they thought they would. So we're kind of hoping that California will be the same way. But anyways, no, let's go to the next slide. Thanks, Nancy. Keep us moving. So let's talk about the timeline. The Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Program will pilot in 3 locations around the state. We will pilot in Los Angeles, Modesto, and Humboldt. So this summer we will pilot in those 3 locations, but the rest of the program will run the same. So for 2024, if you're not part of the pilot, from your point of view, everything will be business as usual. And WIC is also exploring collaborating with us on some of these opportunities. Sorry, once the system is ready, once we get all the kinks out throughout this pilot, then in fall 2024 sometime, we will start farmer trainings in person, virtual, and computer. We have some funding, fortunately, to be able to travel around the state and meet farmers where they're at. And we know that this is going to be a big task. So we're trying to give ourselves a lot of time in order to get all these farmers onboarded into this new system. And then May 2025, that is the deadline. There will be no more senior checks, and farmers must complete all of the authorization steps in order to transact benefits in 2025. Next slide. And so we need your help. This is a big transition. It's a big transition for participants, for farmers markets. So if you are someone who works with farmers regularly, or senior participants, or farmers markets. Did I say farmers or farmers markets? Anyways, if you're working with farmers or farmers markets, we would love to talk to you, whether that's helping us maybe through outreach or communication, if you're able to host trainings, maybe provide technical assistance, really any way that we can collaborate with folks. We know that reaching small farmers is not always easy, and onboarding to a new process is also not easy. So any way we can collaborate with folks, we are happy to have those conversations, more than happy to have those conversations. So sorry, I feel like I sped through that really fast because I know we're running out of time, but we did leave, oh no, there's one more slide, how to stay updated. So I gave a very loose training schedule because we don't know the exact dates of when we're going to be ready to start actually training farmers on a wider scale. So if you can visit the wicfarmers.ca.gov website, that's where we'll be updating with training schedules. We'll be providing program updates. So that will be your home base. So if you ever want to know what's going on with the program, please start there. And then you're more than welcome to email me. My email's at the bottom. If you are an authorized farmer, please, as Nancy was saying earlier, we should do this anyways, make sure that your email is up to date by emailing the WIC FMNP web email address up there. And then also for folks who are part of the California Alliance of Farmers Markets, keep an eye out for their newsletter. We're going to be putting updates periodically in their newsletter, as they've been very gracious to allow us to update there. So that is the end of the second part of our presentation, and I would be happy to take any questions that you might have about this new process or about the authorization training, if you have lingering questions there. So thanks for listening as I cough through. Nobody has any questions? Okay, well, if you do have questions, I can put my email in the chat. It's many other places too. You can message me, or Nancy or Monica if you have any questions about authorization. But yeah, thank you all for your time. Nancy, is there any? Oh, Darlene, yeah, please go ahead.
Sorry, I had a phone call, so I don't know if you talked about this or not. When you mentioned the pilot for the summer, I was just wondering, do you already have your farmers, or there's still an opportunity for farmers to join in on piloting? What's that kind of looking like?
Yeah, so we have our locations set. We are going to pilot in Humboldt, LA, and Modesto. So that's our sort of core starting of farmers. But then once we see that the system is working with those farmers, we're going to expand kind of piecemeal around the state. So it's going to be a rolling application process to include people. So we have our core, but we are interested in finding people who are interested in being some of the first to start with us. So if you or someone you know might be interested, I would love to talk more with you offline.
Yeah, so the reason I'm wondering is, so for the Modesto area, if they're not currently a farmer that sells at farmers markets, but they were planning to start up in this upcoming season, whether it would be too late for them to join the pilot or if there's still an opportunity to join.
My sense is that it might not be a good idea to bring on farmers who aren't familiar with the program already. In 2025, everyone's going to have to be part of it. And so I think my guess, without knowing too much of the details, is that we're thinking of starting with the farmers who are already authorized, but that doesn't mean that we can't bring on new farmers as soon as we're done with the pilot, would be my guess. I feel like Nancy wants to say something.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, if you want to send me a quick email, then we can discuss offline a little bit more and get a better idea.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Darlene. Right. I guess we can end a couple of minutes early if no one has any questions. Thanks everyone for your time. Nancy, do you feel comfortable ending now, or should we wait?
Yeah, I mean, we can end now, and people can stay on if they need to. We have about 5 more minutes, but if we're just the official portion is done. Looks like people are signing on, but we'll stay on until y'all sign off in case you think of something in the meantime. Thank you so much for attending. We really appreciate your interest in our programs.
Thank you, Kat, too, for hosting.
Thank you.